everyone, I'm Jacob. I play Tithla. She's a ranger. Tithla's in Barovia because she's tagged along with some friends and somebody needs to look after them.
Hi, I'm Haz, and I'm playing the character of Theodore Ursa, Satyr, Circle of the Moon druid, whose main motivation is to find a good revel and turn into a giant angry fey bear to protect his friends, particularly his best bud Tithla.
Hello, I'm Josh, and I shall be playing Killian Maxwell, a elf celestial warlock who has been travelling around Barovia for a little while and has joined up with the Tempest Guild to try and find his place.
G'day, my name's Tom. I'm playing Jonor, the Aasimar divination wizard. He is here to find the best and the worst of this world, and he's doing it with a bit of naivety and optimism.
Hello, I am Raph, and I'm playing Styx, who is a Gloomforged Paladin, on the journey of rediscovering themselves, quite literally, in the land of Barovia.
And I'm Owen, the Dungeon Master of our Curse of Strahd 5th edition campaign. A warning, gentle viewer. Curse of Strahd is a horror-themed Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which means you may hear adult language or adult themes throughout this episode. Hello! Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen. We're doing D&D tonight. It is lovely to have you join us for our Curse of Strahd campaign. Thank you so much. We are raring and ready to go in our premiere horror-themed Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Super quick announcements to get us going. This one's not a fun one. I guess let's do the fun one first. Fun one. Everyone's back. We got the whole cast here. Everyone's back. Raph survived his trip to America. Who else was missing last week? Was it just Raph?
Yeah. I mean,
Raph survived
I do have a pretty big presence, so...
Did anyone notice? I had to look back at the recording to know for sure, but no. So Raph is back, which means I can finally fucking hand over Styx back to Raph, thank Christ. Very, very excited to give you your character back, Raph. I love your character, but I hate having to do his voice. And I didn't even do it last session. I bitched out and used a voice changer halfway through. I didn't even commit. It's too hard. My voice is mostly back tonight, so you will hear the normal excellent level of voice acting that you're used to. Well, the mediocre voice acting level that you're used to as part of our journey here. So that's the exciting news. We've got everyone back. The less than exciting news, this is more for our Queensland, Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunny Coast residents. There is a very large cyclone heading straight for us. There hasn't been one that's hit us in over 60 years. I think 40, 50, 60 years. This one looks like it's going to be a bit bad. One of the projections, I think, showed it becoming a Category 3 by the time it hits us. So everyone who's in Southeast Queensland, just be really safe over the next couple of days. I think it's due to make landfall on Thursday. So if you're in a low-lying area, please be aware of rapidly rising water. I think I saw an estimation that the amount of rain it's predicted is between 800 to 1,000 mils, which is just so batshit insane. I don't really even know how to comprehend how much rain that is.
The prediction I saw was 500 mils per day.
500 per day? Fuck. Okay. So please be careful. If you're in a low-lying area...
For everyone else in America,
don't worry about it.
That's about just under 2 feet of rain a day.
Yeah, thank you for that conversion. That's important. For everyone else in Australia, don't worry about it. You're fine. But for Southeast Queensland fans, if you're in a low-lying area and you don't have sandbags, it might be time to get some sandbags if you're in a low-lying area, and keep an eye on floodwaters. They can rise really quickly because of the way the mountain range sits on our western side. The water that's dropped there flows straight down onto Brisbane, Gold Coast, and the Logan areas in particular. So everyone, please be safe over the next couple of days. I'm sure I'll get some really fucking awesome footage of the floods when they hit, so I'll make sure that I have that as well as a little fun aside so we can look back and go, cool. But please stay safe. Everyone stay safe. And if you're near the coast, don't go swimming or surfing. A couple of 17-meter high waves hit Fraser Island, Kagarai, the other day. That's really fucking big. That's like 2 rafts. That's pretty tall. So like, you gotta look out for that. It's maybe 3 rafts, but yeah, look, that's pretty tall. So you gotta look out for that. That's a big, tall wave. That's the only announcements I have to share, apart from massive thank you to everyone who's been watching Aloft.
Sorry, that's about 50 feet. By the way.
Yeah. So, what, 3.5 rafts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do our recap and let's jump into the session. Our series has been following the adventures of the Tempest Adventuring Guild, Theo, Jonor, Tithla, Styx, and Killian. Having become trapped within the realm of Barovia while searching for some missing adventurers, the team are now preparing to take the fight to Strahd and Sergei. Invited to dinner at Castle Ravenloft, the team have made a deal with Strahd in exchange for their safe passage out of Barovia. With the werewolf pack of the Svarlich Woods currently splintered and no longer paying tribute to Strahd, the team have been sent to hunt down the rebel werewolves to the north of Lake Zarevich. Without knowing the exact destination, the team decided to make a detour via the village of Vallaki, planning to take a boat across the lake and save time on walking. Making their way to the village, the team briefly glimpsed a spectral ship sailing upon the waters of Lake Zarevich, gliding almost silently through the fog. Arriving in town, the group met with Captain Amelia, sharing what they had been up to since leaving Vallaki and their finds along the road. After mentioning their plan to cross Lake Zarevich and explore the northwestern shore for signs of werewolves, Amelia recommended they check in at the Blue Water Inn for two travellers who had recently arrived there and had already demonstrated skill upon the water. With Jonor accompanying Amelia to check in on the Vistani at the stockyard, the rest of the team began to make their way over towards the inn, warm light spilling from the windows and the sound of music and chatter filtering out through the door. Inside, they soon spied two outlanders, a tall Meloran orc covered in tattoos and his elderly gnomish companion. Heading over to speak with the strangers, the team learned that Blood and Axel were also from Nostea, having only recently arrived in Barovia. It seemed that these two travellers had also seen the ghost ship. However, they had learned from the fishermen around Vallaki that any who see the pirate ship are cursed. With a shared goal, the group began to make their way down to the docks to secure transport across the lake. Meanwhile, Jonor and Amelia split up to check out the stockyard, Jonor chatting to Gunther about the current goings-on around Vallaki and teasing him with a magic spear the team had picked up around Yesterhill. Deciding to come back in the morning with the rest of the team, Jonor headed out to find his friends. While this was happening, the rest of the team had arrived at the northern gate and got chatting to one of the guards, learning a little more about the ghost ship and securing a boat they could borrow in the morning. Bumping into Jonor as they headed back into town, introductions were made and the team discussed their next steps, realizing they might need to look at grabbing some extra equipment, including a weapon for Killian. Making their way to bed, the team awoke feeling refreshed and energized, a clear plan in their minds on how to proceed. Blood and Axel checked in on Sivan, getting permission to use his boat and a lead on someone who had a bit more information about the lake, Dockmaster Greta. Meanwhile, Tithla headed to the monastery and caught up with Father Lucian and Ismark, learning some key clues about the werewolves and some information regarding missing children in the process. Jonor and Killian, meanwhile, made their way back to the stockyard, trading away some unneeded items to Gunther in exchange for a new sword for Killian. Keen to talk to the Vistani, the duo made their way over towards the caravans, surprised to learn that one Madame Ava was travelling with this troop. We left off last session though, as Blood and Axel caught up with the Dockmaster and learned her tragic history concerning the ghost ship. And that is where we left off last session. We jump straight back in. This time, over with our two enterprising members making their way towards the stockyard, Jonor and Killian. As the two of you begin heading over towards the edge of the stockyard, you're making your way over towards the caravans where the Vistani had set up their little camp. A large section of the stockyard is set aside as an open field, probably for overflow when the stockyard is full, or to provide a space for the Vistani to camp out. And as you make your way towards the caravans, you can see 6 caravans currently essentially sort of arranged in a bit of a half moon, almost like a half moon circle around what looks like a very large, partially burned down bonfire. The embers still glowing softly in the morning light, thin wisps of smoke rising from the burnt and crisped wood. And as you approach the caravan, I probably should ask a quick question of Styx. I've just realized, now that we've got Raph back, last session I did make a bit of a decision for Styx. Potentially, that was a bad idea. Styx, I kind of assumed that you would travel with Tithla to the church, mainly because I thought it probably would be best to not let Tithla wander off on her own. Past experience doesn't have that go super well for the rest of the party. But I'm more than happy to retcon it. Would you have wanted to instead go with Jonor and Killian to the Stockmaster, or with Axel and Blood to look about securing a boat?
No, I think Styx would probably have a similar mentality to the way you've taken it and not want to leave Tithla on their own. So no, I think that's a good option.
I suspected that might be the case.
Kind of a hot take there, but okay.
Well, I mean, we just don't trust you.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That
You
does
should have
check.
said.
He did just then. Perfect. In that case, then, yeah, we'll stick with Jonor and Killian for the time being. I'll jump back in with you, Styx, in a moment once we head back over to see what Tithla's up to. Yeah, Jonor and Killian. As you make your way over towards the Vistani caravans, you can see a couple of dogs currently sort of resting underneath the edges of the caravan tents. The sections of the caravans, large canvas, brightly coloured canvas sheets are being pulled out from the caravans to provide almost like awnings that overhang the doorway and some of the windows. You can see some of the goods of the Vistani being laid out, piled up against these areas. A couple of Vistani, mostly a few of the older folk you can see currently sipping away at what looks like a hot tea or some sort of hot drink, steaming slightly in the chill morning air from very large chipped earthenware mugs. And as the dogs sort of see you approaching, you watch as a few kind of lift their heads a little bit lazily, one of them standing to attention and pointing a little bit before a very low whistle from one of the Vistani gets them to calm down as they drop back down into a resting position. I leave it up to you two. What do you do?
Killian, you've got that nice little shiny sword or on you. You've got it there, good to go.
Yep, it's all here, ready to go. I strapped it to my side. I don't think it requires me to sit down and concentrate on it for a little bit. Actually, no, it will do if I want to make it my packed weapon, which, if Josh remembers correctly, Owen said we can fiddle with the packed weapon thing with I can make that sword any size now, can't I?
So what we'll do is if you bind the sword, because it's not technically like an attunable enchanted item, if you bind it as your packed weapon, what we can do is you can choose kind of a bit more about the form and customize it a bit as how you'd like it. It'll take over basically as your packed weapon, but we'll play around with the rules a little bit because it's not like an attunable magic item, so it doesn't fit underneath the normal Warlock restrictions, and I'm happy to play around with them if it's just a moon touch sword.
Awesome. But yes, I have it here. It's on my side. Once I've attuned to it, I will make it disappear. So if we ever get our weapons taken from us, I still have mine.
Oh, very good. That's what we want. All right. Well, one thing we don't want to mention is, we picked up that little coin sigil type thing.
Do you mean the fake one that we found in the fake coins we found in the bag, or the soul coin?
Coins. That soul coin type of thing. It wasn't a soul coin, but it had a little secret message. This is out of earshot of everyone else, by the way, Owen. This little coin we've got actually has an important name sort of inscribed on the back of it. The leader of this land. So, yes, the locket. Thank you.
Locket, yeah.
Yeah, the locket's got the last name of the leader of this land. So let's just keep that little bit of information to ourselves, okay?
Interesting, considering that we found that on the body of Vistani. That's very interesting.
That's a very good point. Well, if we probe who this person could have been, that'll be great. So, all right, I'll put this book over there. Probably that guy near the dog. We'll go up and see if he knows anything.
Yeah.
Hey.
Just before we get there, I'll just. I'm sure Madame Ava is probably one that we could ask this question of without giving away too many secrets, because the chances of her already having sort of seen this happen is probably very likely.
Yeah, and if the people don't know, she would know when she's withholding the information. It's very unlikely for it to slip by. Look, yeah, we can give her a go.
Yeah.
I would then swerve to whatever caravan is, delightfully decored. I remember she had a very fancy-looking caravan.
Yeah, you've seen her caravan before, Jonor. You can recognize that it's not changed since you last saw it. The caravan is heavily laden with draped fabrics and silks of many different colors, all forming this like tapestry, almost a kaleidoscope of color around the outside. Very much meant to kind of advertise her role as a fortune teller amongst the Vistani. Her caravan is currently located in the very center of that semicircle of caravans. Pretty clearly, Jonor, you get the sense that this has been set up as a bit of a perimeter to help maybe keep a bit of an eye on Madame Ava, maybe provide a bit of protection for her. And as the two of you make your way over, making a bit of a beeline for her caravan, you watch as the figure who had been whistling to the dogs before slowly stands up and saunters over, immediately intercepting you as you begin to make your way towards Madame Ava's caravan. Morning there, strangers. So you're making your way in to see the madam? You have business with her?
Absolutely. Madame Ava, we've spoken before. Maybe 2 weeks ago, out of town. We spoke to her before. She's a very interesting lady.
She told me that two or three people might be approaching her tent this morning. May I have your names?
Well, we've got Jonor from the Tempest Guild, and also Killian, I guess, basically, Tempest Guild adventurer as well.
You can approach. Yep. She said to keep an eye out for you and guide you over when you got here. Come with me. She was expecting you.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
He watches the Vistani takes a very long, slow sip of his tea, and then very slowly begins to turn around and casually saunter over towards the caravan, really not in much of a rush at all. As he gets to the door, gives it a few short, sharp knocks, gestures over towards two crates sitting on the ground. Take a seat, she'll be with you soon.
Oh, absolutely, no worries.
With that, you watch as he wanders back over towards the dogs, reaching into his pocket, pulling out, looks like a bit of dried meat, a bit of jerky, chucking it to one of the dogs, which leaps up with a very loud clunk, snatches it out of the air as you see these white teeth bared for a moment as it grabs this piece of meat before tearing into it. These are big dogs. As you look at them, looks like some sort of mastiff cross. You're not sure what the other cross is. Probably wolf, judging by its appearance. These look like dogs you do not want to fight. If you sit, if you stand, it doesn't matter too much, but as you wait around Madame Ava's caravan, it's not actually very long at all before the door opens. The scent of strong, heady incense begins to waft out as this thin plume of smoke rises. You watch as a hand reaches out and beckons.
Come, step inside, friend, step inside.
Oh, right away. I'm very interested. We'll jump in straight away, just going right in front of Killian.
Yeah, for sure. Jonor's like survival instincts and your general street smarts. Dumb stat for sure. So you just immediately make a beeline inside. Killian probably following. Touch more cautiously, keeping an eye on Jonor's back if you need to protect it or stab it. Either. Hard to say.
Either. I've done both, so
50-50. It's a 50-50. Flip a coin each.
I just kind of, as Jonor just sort of dives in there, if we hadn't met Madame Ava already, this would be rather creepy. Oh well, and I'll just walk in.
As you step inside the the caravan, it is much as you remember. The walls are draped with curtains and fabric, giving it the appearance of the inside of a tent. Cushions arranged all around, and in the very center of the room, recessed into the floor, you can see that very strange metallic contraption, almost like a portable fire pit, but inside her caravan, sunken partly into the floor. A large pot of tea currently brewing on top of it, as the chimney above filters out not enough of the incense. As you step inside, your eyes stinging for a moment. The incense, kind of like burning your eyes for a second, clogging your nose. This very like heady, spiced smell, like cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and then this woody sort of ash smoke. You can see outlined in the smoke Madame Ava, shawl wrapped around her, as she sort of moves quite slowly over towards the other side of the caravan before taking a very arthritically slow seat on the cushions underneath her feet. Before she gestures to two on either side of her, set up and ready to go. A third cushion also sits there, but you can see as she sees the two of you, nods and gestures to the two cushions next to her.
I shouldn't be surprised. Admittedly, naively, I was shocked that you were expecting us, but, how foolish of me.
I saw it in the tea leaves last night. Happened to glance at an empty cup. Sure enough, it told me. 2 or 3 strangers. Not quite friends, not quite allies, not quite new. I wondered if it might be you I'd be seeing again. Jonor, Killian.
Madame Ava, happy to be here.
Pleasure to see you again.
You have both grown since I last saw you. Jonor, I see your third eye is far more open than it was previously. Your glimpse beyond the veil to that which is to come, and that which might be, sharper and keener than before. Killian, your powers have grown as well. I sense a light connection to the divine that was not there before. This is good. You will need your strength soon, for you face a far more dangerous foe in the days to come than you suspect.
That doesn't sound good. I'm consistently looking at Jonor to find a third eye on his face. What?
Madame Ava sort of
well.
notices your attention for a moment and sort of chuckles a bit.
A third eye is manifesting only in the spiritual realm. It does not appear in this mundane plane. Your eyes would not see it. Sorry, Killian.
Okay.
Unless your third eye was opened.
I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
Well, I have been working these cards just so generously. Well, not generously of yourself, but I'm appreciative of your previous, creations. I'm happy to use them. They've been quite telling, for better or for worse, actually.
But it's not just the cards you carry now, is it, Jonor? You've picked up something
No, it's conduit.
else.
Yes, I have, and well, I'm kind of curious. Do you know what I have? I am happy to show, but
Treasure from a distant land, claimed as a trophy by the self-proclaimed Baron of Barovia, the Count. A ball of crystal.
wow, I'm yep. Again, shouldn't be surprised, but yeah, here it is, and with it,
No, do not
pull out
uncover it.
this-
Do not uncover it.
Oh,
She quickly calls out as you go to sort of reveal the crystal orb.
yeah, no, it was coming out.
Keep it covered. Your recovery of this item did not go unnoticed, but I see this is not news to you.
Oh, this is very interesting. I know when I pressed this, I laid my hands on this gem. It wasn't just me really making contact. There was a bit of a spell, and it was set by, the one you would expect.
This is not what it appears to be. What you hold in your hands was part of a pair. You have one. He has the other.
Oh, okay. So he being the one we just visited. So there's
One whose
By any chance-
invite you answered, yes.
would these be identical? Because there's ways of tracking these things down, like locate objects.
Yes, they
So-
are identical, but you will find divination magic is not quite as accurate around these objects. Have you attempted to use this orb since you acquired it? I see from
No.
your expression you have not.
I was planning to, saw you here. I was going to give it a go.
It would be best if you try this when I am not around. My involvement in these affairs must remain ambiguous, you understand. I cannot play favorites,
Of course.
despite the fact
That's-
that I clearly am, and you two and your friends are my favorites.
She gives you a big warm
Aw.
smile, her missing teeth and slightly crooked jaw, somewhat ruining the warm effect of it.
Jonor doesn't incite that one. Okay, well, that's really a shame. I was going to use this very shortly, actually,
Not
but
with me
all right,
around.
we'll keep-
It would be best. There is a chance
Does it
that he may be watching. Oh,
Like
sorry,
a two-way. If you're concerned about it being used, does it act like a two-way mirror?
Not a two-way mirror, but there is a chance that what Jonor sees, he will see, as the orbs are linked.
Right.
That's very cunning. That's the type of thing you would expect. Look, I was going to ask how you know, but I probably know how you do know. Look, we actually are here with news to share with the Vistani. If you already know, there's been a body sort of nailed to a post out a tree, maybe 3 hours at the front of the town. Are you across that?
A body? I did
Yeah,
not
Vistani.
see this.
Well, this was yesterday we arrived, and then 3 hours prior, we came across this limp and also stiff body just, lodged against this tree.
I did not foresee this. Who was this body? Do you know who this was?
From memory, it was a body that was dressed up like a Vistani. It didn't have the visual appearance of a Vistani, but was dressed up like one.
It had this cloth that pointed. Go on, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say it was somebody who wasn't a Vistani that was dressed like a Vistani.
Curious. And they carried no other signs of identification or indicators of who this might have been?
I'd say the most telling attribute of identification would be the string saying Vistani. Nothing else really makes sense about who they could be.
And how did this
or
person
this dead
die?
person?
So they've been attached to a tree, nailed.
Crossbow through. I think it was through the forehead into the post.
Blessedly a quick way to go. No, I did not foresee this. Curious. This must be of middling import if my eyes did not perceive this event. Was there anything
done
else?
by somebody who could obscure your sight of your third eye.
There are only two capable of such a feat, and they would need to know to do so. And I have been so very careful these years to make sure I stay under their attention. This event
under their attention, they aren't paying attention to you, or
yes, outside of their interest, their focus. I've made sure to keep myself away from their focus. But this event clearly spooked you. I can see the two of you. What more have you not told me? What more is there?
I was going to go up just to the main Vistani dog handler back there and show the cloth up, but I just saw your caravan here and thought it was nice to catch up. And
it would be great if you, on your way out, please report this to Barati. But you said this wasn't a Vistani. You were concerned that it was someone dressed up as one.
Concerned that it was a message being sent to the Vistani.
Well, it would be a certainly far more extreme message than the Vistani have received in recent years. More often when we are not welcome in a location, it is made clear to us through certain means that our presence is no longer tolerated. But this was, you said, 2 hours, 3 hours away from the city. Normally when we are told to keep away from a location, it is very obvious that we are not welcome within the walls. We had no issue passing through the gates this time. Certainly it's one of the easiest passages into Vallaki we have since faced. I believe we have our new burgomaster to thank for that.
Glad he's treating everyone well.
He is trying to, which is far more than any of his predecessors have done. Very interesting.
Go on.
I was just going to say, as the leader of the Vistani, do you...
I am an advisor, not a leader. I give the Vistani assistance, finding the right path, nothing more.
Are you aware of all Vistani that are within Barovia?
I know many of our family. Not all, but not all who wear our colours or call themselves Vistani are of the family. There are those who use our name and visage to accomplish more evil, sinister tasks. But those who are one with the family, I would know most of, yes.
We found a couple of bodies at the ruins, what was once the ruins of Argynvostholt.
Yes, I
Just thought I'd make you
sensed a
aware.
change upon that place. Light shining in the darkness. You have been quite adept, you and your friends, at changing places from shadows of what they once were, restoring them. First the Abbey of St. Markovia, and now the ruined fortress of Argynvostholt. You must know this draws attention to you, both to you and your friends. This much noise that you are creating. There will be
It
consequences.
is a little bit unavoidable. If we're trying to do the right thing, it's going to, stir the pot to some degree.
Be careful not to get burned. Is my advice.
Quite wise. There is one thing which could be, if you know anything about, do you have pen and paper? I just want to write something down just as a
Parchment
caution on-
and quill, of course.
She reaches over.
Absolutely. All right. And I, in my Naxos writing, I write the dark powers, and little underline beneath, and tap it with my finger. Does this mean anything to you?
Ah, someone's been looking at the puppet masters here. Not those pulled by their strings, but those who do the pulling. Good, Jonor. Very, very good.
Oh, okay. Not a loose thread then.
No, the dark powers here. It's hard to say what they are truly. Entity? Force? Whatever they are malevolent, and they are powerful, and they grant boons to those who offer them suffering. But these boons are always two-sided, double-edged. It's a curse. You get what you ask for, but not in the way that you might have anticipated. There were once two men here, brothers, who beseeched the dark powers for a favor. Each of them asked for something. Each of them got what they asked for, but became monstrous in the process.
Well, what you've said there is basically what I've deduced, and perhaps a little bit more. Something told me that these dark powers, or dark power, was actually known to the two brothers.
Oh yes, they are fully aware, and both of them in their own way have tried to break the deal they have made. But it is not a deal easily broken. And whatever intelligence guides these powers, it likes suffering. It likes to see them hurt. And it has fed on their misery, on their loneliness, on their pain, for a very long time now.
Do you think?
Do you,
Yep, go on, Killian.
you go,
Do you think those who are cursed are aware that their suffering, fulfills it?
Oh yes. I do not think it took them very long to figure out that they had been tricked. Or
do you know of a way?
Um,
Do you know of a way to break their ties to these powers?
I just might. And perhaps it is something I have already set you on a path to achieve.
Oh, color me intrigued. You going to share more, or leave that for us to find out?
Every time I gaze into your futures, the ones where I tell you what to do, my plan falls apart. Darkness descends upon these lands once again. It is far better you walk this path under your own guide, under your own volition, and not because I told you. But you are on the right path, I can tell you that.
Oh, that's actually one of the external glimmers of hope I've ever heard. I don't think anyone here outside of our party's ever said anything
Do not clutch onto hope too tightly, Jonor. I had not yet finished speaking. The one thing I can share is to break their pact. You'll need to offer someone else's suffering to these dark powers. Fresh suffering, raw suffering, that they may feed on a new host or new hosts.
Can I insight check Madame Ava, please?
Someone's finally decided to look at Twitch chat, I see.
I've had it open the entire time, but I thought
We've had how many calls for insight check now? There's all caps insight checks. We know it. Highlighted and all caps. We know it's a serious one.
Jonor wouldn't do it.
That's fair.
Not for her.
Killian would, and as part of the ongoing bit, I don't have anything open, so I need to open everything quickly.
What bit? It just
We're 41 minutes into the recording.
I know, I did it on purpose.
But Owen, for what it's worth, we're only 9 minutes into actually playing D&D, so
That's not fair.
It's only 9 minutes of the 15 minutes that Raph actually wants to play, so we need to shoot it long.
yeah, he's got to go back to making America great again.
That's right.
How did you do that while you were over there, Raph? While he's figuring out his stuff, what did you?
Oh, just supporting fascism.
Great, awesome.
I'm surprised they didn't want to keep you because of the whole Jesus aesthetic.
Yeah.
I have heard that is now hip and cool in the US of A. I wasn't aware that we were back to that, but I guess history is a cycle and we're stuck on a treadmill like tiny little hamsters, and here we are once again. 13 on the insight, Killian. Yeah, it's all looking good.
Could I bardically inspire and guidance myself?
Talk me through how you would do that in the moment.
In the moment, so
Yeah.
Guidance is Killian. I'm sort of running my finger up and down the new sword that I've got, not in a.
He's running his finger up and down his sword. Okay, fair
up
enough.
and down the shaft of my blade.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
yep.
that's better.
Yeah.
There we go. Just as it's more of a muscle memory comforting thing from when I had my blood blade.
It's a new blade. You want to feel the girth. You want to feel the heft. You're not used to such a weight in your hands. This is a new. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You finally feel like a man.
I like feeling. The, sort of the hard feel in my hand, sort of thing. Yeah.
Can you get two hands on it, or is it just a one-hander?
I was definitely a two-hander.
Hey.
When it extends,
He's got very
it's
tiny
a two-hander.
hands, like a certain someone we know.
Is that Raph as well?
hands. No, Raph's got no.
And I'm humming, and the bardic inspiration is I am humming a tune to I'm sort of humming a ringing tune to myself while this conversation's happening, but it's sort of under my breath a little bit, so it's not. If Madame Ava was to look at me, you can clearly see that I am trying to cope. These are coping mechanisms.
Yeah, bit of copium. I will, as a nice DM, allow one of these, not both. If you're paying enough attention to Madame Ava to kind of like read into her body language, you don't have the brain space or the ability to multitask 3 things simultaneously. Paying attention to her, casting a spell, and humming to yourself as you use your bardic inspiration. I will allow you to pick one of those, either your bardic inspiration.
It feels that I should go for the touching of my shaft, but I'm going to go for the humming.
Yeah, because he's a metagame and he wants the higher
that makes that a 19.
Yeah, 19 is a bit better.
Oh,
yeah. As you sort of hum to yourself, Killian, not really focusing too much on what she's saying this moment, more kind of taking yourself away and listening to the words, watching her body language, just kind of pulling yourself out of the conversation briefly while Jonor has this very deep conversation with Madame Ava. Taking a bit of a moment. Killian, there's a couple of key things you pick up on. One of which, when Madame Ava first mentions that the two brothers, she tells the tale of the two brothers who made a pact with the dark powers and are now trapped in an eternal cycle of misery and pain. She's sad. There's a grief there, deep and hidden. She speaks about it with disdain, but it's too personal. There's more going on here. She is... This is painful for her as well. Whether this is because she has some personal connection to them or some personal connection, some empathy for their situation because she has experienced it or has seen someone she knows experience it, you don't know. But there is some connection there. She has more of an understanding of this than someone who's describing it passively. This is personal. She knows what this pain and this suffering either looks like or feels like. More than that as well, as she's speaking to Jonor about the path that you guys are walking on, the fact that one of you would need to take up that mantle, there's something there, a little twitch at the corner of her eye. She's not telling you the whole truth. There is more to this that she is keeping back, and she waits for Jonor to kind of initiate before giving him little tidbits. She's leading Jonor, almost breadcrumbing him towards some sort of idea or some decision when she could just outright say it. She also said, I can't tell you about the path, but then immediately told you exactly what you needed to do when Jonor pushed even a little bit. That doesn't... She just said she couldn't. How does that make sense? Something's going on here. There is more to what she's saying. She's not outright lying, but she's not being truthful. There is more to this than she's letting on.
It feels like there is a path that you know that we must go on. Yet you're not telling us everything that we need to do. You've said that in order for this darkness to be lifted from them, somebody else needs to take their place. But it feels like there is more to it than that. And if we are to help the people of Barovia, as it seems your intention is, then I think it would be beneficial for us to know everything that it is we need to do and the risks that we will be taking in order to complete this task. We've already committed to the fact that we're helping this place. Look what we've done with the Abbey. Look what we've done with Argynvost. Look what we've done here. So being coy is not going to help.
You see much, Killian, but not enough to see the path forwards. As I said, I must be careful with what I share. Too much information, and I could lead you down a path that is drenched in the blood of innocence, and one that leads only to your death of many. That is one of the futures I see, and a future I have worked very hard to steer us away from. But perhaps I could give you a bit more to go on. That help ease your mind, clear your suspicions.
It will help ease my mind, definitely.
Good. The deal that you have made with Count, the Baron, whatever he is referring to himself these days as. There is more to this situation with the werewolves than you know, and one of the major dangers that you face lies beneath the waters of Lake Zarovich. The two are connected. The changes to the werewolves, and the spectral ships seen floating upon those dark, hidden depths.
We did hear there was something going on in the lake. A large schooner ship has been seen. Something that clearly is not native to the lake has been seen on there. So,
and yet it has been there for many generations. Stories tell of it having always been there.
But that and the werewolves are connected in some way. From conversations that we've had with certain people that we have spoken to, they made it seem like there is a split amongst the werewolves. Some are working for one side and others are working for the other. Is that true, or are they working for one side, or are they trying to act completely independent?
It's not that simple. One side are still loyal to their master, dogs to heel when their master calls. The other were offered something in exchange for disobedience, something they have longed for a very long time. They have not yet made any promises to serve another, to work for another. But that is only for now. There is a chance the pack could be split between two masters, brought to heel, which would be disastrous for the people of Barovia. Because a werewolf pack is as strong as its strongest member and its numbers. Already, recruitment has begun. I hear children have gone missing from surrounding farmsteads. You would do well to investigate. That will lead you where you need to go.
That is our plan. I do have a question that might seem a bit on the nose, but with your abilities that you have, the abilities that you seem to be sharing with Jonor in a way, and I'm going to go over to Jonor and I'm going to pull the map out of one of his packs, and I'm going to open the map out. We're a bit lost on exactly where these werewolves are. Can you tell us where they are, please?
Yes, let us consult the dowsing stone.
With that, you watch as she reaches down and pulls out a circular stone, perfectly hollowed in the center, strata of reddish-brown layers sort of carving through it, creating almost what looks like a river of molten rock moving through the outside of this grey slate stone. A very long leather cord ties it in place, and you watch as she closes her eyes and begins to wave it over the top.
Wait a minute. I'm just going to walk back over to Jonor, and I'm just going to get my elbow, and I'm going to push it right into the crease of his ribs and push him right towards Madame Ava. This could be a learning opportunity for my friend here.
Okay, yep.
You're hoping he'll learn how to douse?
I'm paying attention. Let's see how this goes.
Perfect. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's jump over to Styx and Tithla inside the chapel. Styx. As soon as you enter the chapel, Tithla started calling out, "Dad!" and then rushed off into another part of the chapel, disappearing.
Where are you?
At this point, I kind of had Styx up in the air with what you wanted to do. You could see that to your right is the door opening up to the larger chapel area. Pews lined up along the far walls on either side, leading towards the dais at the very end of the hallway. The symbol of the sun, the iconography of the sun plastered all over the inside of this chapel. And you can see, despite the early morning, there are a few people in there either silently praying or lighting candles at the far end of the chapel. Tithla has rushed off towards the houses of healing over towards the left, the halls of healing.
All right. Is there...
Noted that Owen very deliberately decided that Styx wouldn't go with Tithla to listen to the conversation that was being had. Very deliberately decided Styx wasn't going to be there.
No. I just said in the moment, I can't make that decision. I'll wait till Raph's back and we'll see if he joins you or not.
Nah. Do I need to find another clip from YouTube?
You can, but whatever I say is true. So I now say this is true and it is true. Welcome to the dictatorship. Fascism's on the rise, baby, and this is now my fascist country.
Are you saying there's good people on both sides, Owen? Is that what you've just said?
No, I'm saying I am in charge.
Okay.
You will respect my authority, or I'll host a military parade, I guess, and spend $1 trillion on some missiles that look like my penis.
That's not that much money.
Yeah. Well, we've got to compensate
Hey,
somehow,
Goblin.
right? Fascists all have tiny dicks. They have to compensate with big missiles. That's the rule. The bigger the missile, the bigger the tank, the bigger the military parade.
Owen just said he has a small penis.
I guess in this very clear tongue-in-cheek takedown of fascism, sure.
No take
Why not,
backs.
Jacob?
No take backs.
If you need this, sure.
Gotcha. I need it.
Well done. Okay,
I need it.
he needs this, guys. He's been obsessing over this for a very long time. So luckily, we can
I've
get
been
that
trying
one
to find out so many different ways. Go on, Owen.
No, this is a question for Raph. Raph, what would you like to do?
I don't know anymore.
What would you like to do?
Yeah, follow that up.
Styx is going along for the sole purpose of stopping Tithla from making a mess, so probably would be following along with Tithla.
You should have been there last session then.
Oh no.
In that case, then, Styx, as you begin making your way towards the houses of healing, the halls that have been designated and set aside for people who've been injured or people who need help, people who are sick, you walk past an area that's clearly been quarantined off. You can hear the sound of someone coughing, this hacking cough coming from behind an area that's partially sealed off with a curtain. And as you have a bit of a look around, you're kind of struggling to see where Tithla has gone. In this moment, she seems to be absent. It's at this moment, Styx, that you hear the sound of a voice behind you. But you are Toy.
Well, I'll turn around.
Styx, for a moment, you feel your heart drop, but I guess you feel your core rotate slightly. You feel this cold seep in for a moment as all of your gears, all of the internal workings cease for a moment before starting up again much, much quicker. Blinsky stands before you, but younger than you remember. And it's at this moment you realize, while it looks a lot like the Blinsky who made you, your father, your creator, you realize this must be his grandson or great-grandson, but eerily similar. Much younger, black hair pulled back into a bit of a slicked back mullet. You can see dark, keen eyes looking at you, 5 o'clock sort of shadow on his chin as the slightly overweight Blinsky looks at you, confused, head tilted as he looks over towards you. Oh, I did not know you were based upon... apologies. I have been selling much of your toy. I found the design amongst some old papers, and I have been... I am doing this all wrong. I am Blinsky. Hello.
I know who you are.
How do you know who I am? I mean, I guess my toys must have made an impact. You like my toys?
No.
Oh.
I do not like your creations.
He watches his face kind of falls a little bit. Oh, maybe some specific feedback, and then I can break into a new market of metal, scary bone men.
Styx is gonna... He's not even hiding that he's being threatening at the moment. He's going to stalk directly up to Blinsky and grab the front of his shirt and lift him off the ground.
Oh, if you need a refund, I know I say no refunds on the door, but I can make an exception.
What has happened to you?
I have been picked up and my pants are wetter than they were before, but otherwise not much. My breeches appear to have gotten somewhat soaked.
You are the progeny of my father, my creator.
The progeny? I am a toy maker, like my father
Yes.
before me and his father before him.
No. You are a toy maker. The quiet shadow of a former great man.
Thank you? Doesn't really know how to respond. You can see he's very confused by this.
Why do you make toys? Why did you submit?
Why do I make toys? To make the children smile. It is very sad place here at Barovia, and I grew up without many toys to play with. I thought maybe it would be good for others to have toys, so I make toys. Hence, is no fun, is no Blinsky. Without Blinsky, there would be no fun.
Styx will put him down.
Oh, thank you. You are very strong. I am. The underarms chafed and hurt by this lifting of my lapels, they are.
Your grandfather fought for freedom.
Fought for freedom? You sure? I didn't really know my grandfather very well, but what I do remember was he sat in old chair, rocking backwards and forwards with haunted look in eye.
I did not know him then. I knew a younger man.
You say he fought for freedom? What do you mean, fought for freedom? Freedom of who? From who?
From whom?
From whom? Fair.
From this place.
I did not know my grandfather had such aspirations, but I'm guessing it did not go well, given how I remember him. Did he make you some sort of assistant to help construct things? Wait, do you know how to make good toys? Could you help me make more toys? Are you good at building?
I will help you make war.
Oh, war is not something I am currently investing in. That is a platform with less smiles on children's faces, more tears. Not what I want. Happy tears, sure, but war seems very bad, no?
For the right cause, war is ideal.
So you, what is your goal here? Are you hoping to? Did my grandfather give you some instruction you are trying to fulfill? Help me understand.
Vengeance.
Going to be honest, I'm a bit more scared. Watch as he takes a little half step backwards again.
Styx takes a half step forwards.
Oh no. I must say, you are far more intimidating at full size. I find you, the versions of you I hand out to children, much less scary than yeah. Keep in mind, Blinsky comes up to like your shoulder. He's not a tall man. He's not a tall man. He's like 5'7". He's not very tall.
I am disappointed by you.
Oh, sorry? Is making children smile not worthy enough goal?
No. Styx is going to turn around and try and find where Tithla's gone.
As you go to walk away, Styx, could you roll me a quick... Let's make it a charisma saving throw, please.
I can do that.
Yeah, I thought you would be able to.
I just worked out before that, you know how I couldn't find
The
short
long
rest
rest
button?
Yeah, as he found it.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that I wasn't actually signed in for like the last 4 sessions. And I've just been looking at the sheet.
Well, I must say that's a pretty powerful tool we're using in Beyond 20 that you didn't even need to be signed in and you could still access all of this. That's amazing that you've not needed it. The only thing you couldn't do
Pretty good.
would have been add stuff to your inventory.
Anything to my inventory.
Yeah. Hey, we solved it, gang. How long have we been playing D&D with these tool sets for? A long time.
Just a couple of years.
Yeah, if we can't remember to open them, we can't remember to log in.
That's
So
right.
go hand in hand.
That's right.
Very true.
Was this a perception check? I got distracted.
Charisma saving throw, please, my friend. So not even close. I mean, you're on the left-hand side of the sheet, so I'll take that as a win. Like, you're in the same geographic area.
Right?
Do you know what's nice, though? Chat have identified, Tabs have gone, yeah, the Avatar crew is worse, though. You're right. The Avatar crew is worse. No matter, like, and that should be the absolute blistering takedown that it is meant to be. That this is not the bottom of the barrel. this is very middle pack.
Wait, we don't have to try this hard? Is that what I'm hearing?
Please try harder. 24 on the charisma save. Styx, as you go to turn around, some little subroutine, some little program ticking away in your core, for a moment, tries to stop you, tries to turn you back towards Blinsky. This little voice in your head, not quite a voice, an impulse to listen to this man, to do what he says. It lasts for all of 0.1 of a second before your strong sense of self, your empowered self, now that you know who you are, you know what you were, and you're becoming more whole, you are becoming more yourself. Whereas this might have had an influence on you previously, now this impulse holds no sway over you. Inside your mind, you find this little program, and you burn it from your core in an instant.
With my half grasp of magic, would I know if he would know that the spell failed?
You don't know even if this was a spell or if this was just something programmed into you. An impulse to follow the instructions of your creator. And he's not your creator, you know that, but he looks a fucking lot like him. Enough like him that maybe that's what triggered this. You certainly didn't hear him say anything. You didn't even hear him moving. If there was verbal and somatic components to this spell, if it was a spell, he either did them absolutely silently or it's not a spell.
All right. Yeah, Styx is going to...
It's a possibility, so he's still done it deliberately.
Styx is going to go try and find Tithla, and also the chat's absolutely right. Styx does sound like a Dalek, and I only just realised that.
You need to say exterminate. You need to say exterminate sometime.
Exterminate.
That's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. All the Doctor Who fans out there all just came simultaneously. As you make your way, it's that kind of session. As you make your way over towards the double doors, you can hear Tithla's voice. We know it's piercing. We know it carries. It doesn't take you too long to locate Tithla. As you open the double doors, you see Tithla currently seated down in front of.
Okay, we'll go and find Jade.
Perfect timing. And as you watch as the doors open behind you, Tithla, and you see Styx stride in.
We have to go.
Good.
Okay, follow me.
You watch as the two men inside the room, neither of whom you recognize Styx, neither of whom recognize you, jump to their feet in a bit of concern and confusion as a giant walking robot with bones for a face and a skull just walks into the room, looks down at Tithla. Tithla goes, "We need to go." And you're just like, "Good." Then you both turn and start walking out. You see...
Bye. I'll check on the lost kids.
You watch as Ismark looks towards you and goes, Tithla, what the fuck? As you just turn and start walking away.
What? You okay? We've just been having a nice, serious conversation.
Ooh. Hello. As he looks towards Styx. Hi.
We've met. I'm Tithla.
Not you.
Hello.
I feel like I would remember you.
I'm sorry, are we in a hurry here to go?
Yes, you're in a hurry. Go. We'll do instructions later.
Okay, bye.
Perfect.
Styx just follows without a word.
As the two of you make your way back outside, Tithla, you see standing over towards the side, not yet entering the chapel, but looking really concerned towards you and Styx, eyes very much focused on Styx. You see Blinsky, and as you kind of like walk towards him, you watch as he kind of like eyes go a little bit wide as he sees Styx.
I think we covered this a few sessions ago. I don't think Tithla ever met Blinsky, so Tithla wouldn't know what he looks like.
You see a man watching a rather A short-term man, dark hair pulled back, a little bit plumper than a lot of the other residents of the Lackey. Eyes go wide as he sees Styx, and he kind of backs into the chapel a little bit away from the door.
So I think what Tithla's able to pick up from this, from her wonderful, interpersonal skills. Hi, are you looking at us?
Oh, hello. Are you looking for a toy? I can help with a toy. No, hang on. You definitely met Blinsky. He gave you. Yeah. Chat, tell me out here. You met him because he gave you a toy of yourself.
Hi, Blinsky. How can I help?
Tithla. Hello. Have you been enjoying your toy of yourself?
Yeah, we had to give it away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need another?
Are people buying them?
Oh, no, they
Wait,
are.
No,
but...
I have important work to do.
Okay.
I'll buy 3 more.
Come round to the shop. It would be good to show you the new range of things. Okay, bye.
And then we leave and start to head out of town. Okay, so Styx, what you missed? There's the kids. They're missing. We got to find them. There's multiple kids missing. Let me consult my notes because I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. So there's Tomaz with a Z. He's 7. He's a boy. He's been missing. There's Iris. She's 13. She's a girl. She's also missing. There's Jade, 11. She's a girl. She's been missing for 2 nights. She's the most recent of the missing. Then there was 2 others. This is all over the last week and a half, approximately. Maybe this was the werewolves. Some word that I wrote there that I don't recognize as English. Wow, that's bad.
Where are they?
Report large dogs. We need to go. Just outside of town. They're just on the up and left, but the right side of town. It's on the map. Right. I'll show you. We're going there right now, but the family there, we're walking and talking. The family's already been interviewed, and we have to go because they might ruin the clues that are on the ground of where they're gone. Because we're so much smarter than all these other people who are looking. Like they're good with the people stuff, but we're good with the nature stuff. That's what we're gonna go and do now.
Why are we not going with the others as well?
Oh, we're in a hurry.
All right.
We're just gonna go and check this place first.
Okay. What can you tell me about that pathetic toy maker?
Just that he makes toys. They were pretty good. He made toys of all of us.
Why?
I don't really remember. In my memory, I didn't even know him, but I guess I did because he seemed to know me.
I knew his grandfather.
He knew us from the Bloodless Coup.
All right.
You knew his grandpa?
I did.
What was he like?
A better man.
Oh. Why was he such a good man?
He fought for what was right.
Oh. Is he like Killian?
He did not make toys. He made war.
Like Killian.
Okay.
I'm asking your opinion.
Why?
Well, because you just had an opinion for the first time ever. I was trying to get another one.
Oh. You have reached your quota.
Okay. When can I try again?
3
9,
to 5
9, 9, 9.
What's a business day?
File not found.
Okay. What was his grandpop's name?
Blinsky.
Was his grandpop Blinsky Jr.? Because this old guy's Blinsky. And if he was younger when you knew him, then he might be Blinsky Jr.
Blinsky Jr., the elder.
Yeah, because he was the younger one.
All right.
Okay, should we go and find Jade and go talk to Jade's parents?
Who's that?
Jade's the girl that's been missing. She's 11. She's been missing for 2 nights.
Oh.
Her family house is just on the outskirts of town. You've got to go up out of town and then go right, and then it's just over there.
Okay.
Look at the map. There's a big purple star on there. It's pretty simple. It's got Jade written on there.
All right.
You know those maps that I just show you and we don't share with other people?
Yes, you should probably share that with the group.
I'll share it just with the group, but I don't want other people to be able to see it.
All right.
Okay, can we jump now?
Yeah. I just was happy to let you
continue
cook.
this awkward conversation.
I can keep going if you want.
That's fine. I
All
just wondered if there was an end. It turns out there wasn't. I was just curious. I thought I'd see if there was a natural conclusion, but no.
It's us. Of course, there's not going to be.
As the two of you
Keep
make
this
your way,
going for the next 2 hours.
I could just leave this as the 72-hour stream, come back in a couple of days, and it's still the
You
two
know
of them
what?
talking.
It's worse options.
Where are we?
I don't know. We just kept walking and talking, and now I think we're at the castle. Oh, he's eating us. He's
I'm
eating
sorry,
my
did
feet.
you-
He's
did you say,
consuming me.
why are we? Why?
Yeah. Why are we?
That's a long answer.
The narrator left.
Yeah. As you make your way outside the town gates, not too much of a second glance. If Tithla had been doing this by herself, the sight of a small child-like figure making their way out of town might have elicited some attention, but your 7-foot-tall skeletal protector, no one's really worried about you, Tithla, in this moment. They're more worried about what might happen to people who meet you and your friend. As you make your way over towards the farmsteads, following along the main road, taking that first turn off towards the northern farmsteads, bordering onto the edge of the Svarlich Woods, the southern edge of the Svarlich Woods, the region that you're passing through, you can tell, is pretty poor. A lot of the homes and farmsteads here are small and dingy, single-story buildings with regularly replaced thatch roofs. You can see the farmland is not as fertile. The lack of sunlight must have a pretty pronounced effect on the plant life here, and you can see that what does grow is wan and malnourished. Passing through a number of the smaller farming communities, seeming to focus on essentials like wheat and corn, you get to the edge of what looks like a much smaller series of fields, not filled with plant life, but with animals. You can see a pasture with a number of goats, mean-looking, ragged billy goats, as well as a much larger pasture, grey-brown, trampled, dusty earth filled with quite a large number of cattle milling about, the occasional sort of disgruntled moos as they look for plant life in this very barren, very empty field. Outside the front of the house, you can see a man working away, currently chopping firewood into 2 stacks. You can see next to him a woman. Both of them look to be sort of in their maybe late 30s, early 40s. A woman next to him currently speaking with 2 children. Not quite sure what they're saying, but you can tell by the expression on the kids' faces that they're not happy with whatever's being communicated to them. As the 2 of you begin to approach, you watch as the 2 kids run off and begin heading around back into the homestead, this very sort of small, squat, L-shaped building nestled between the 2 fields. As soon as the man chopping wood sees you, you watch as he kind of pauses, hoists the axe up on his shoulders, makes eye contact with both of you, before sort of calling out, "Oh there, stranger. What business have you with me and my family?"
I was just wondering, is that your wheat field?
Wheatfield? No, it's my neighbours. We've
Okay.
animals are ours, the livestock, the goats, the cattle.
Yeah, okay. That's good. If your neighbour's looking for some tips, you can see, have you noticed how the wheat isn't really growing that well so far? It looks like there's not enough nitrogen in the soil. He needs to try and plant some legumes, maybe some peas.
I haven't got
beans.
time for this. I'm busy.
I'm just
We've got
trying-
to get the firewood together to start making torches. We've got to go out looking
That
for my
reminds
daughter.
me, I'm busy too. Yes. Do you know Jade's parents?
I be her father, yes.
Oh, okay. I
What
have a
business
note.
do you have with my daughter?
I have a note. And
Sort of
she holds out the note
gingerly
from Ismark
approaches.
that says Tithla's doing work for Ismark.
You watch as he gingerly approaches, very slowly begins to look over the note before his wife comes over, gently takes it from his hands, reads it, and then hands it back to you, Tithla. You can see that her face is tear-stained, her eyes quite red as if she hasn't been sleeping, and you can see very dark shadows under the father's eyes. Again, signs of very worried, very anxious parents. As you look, you watch as the mother sort of pauses for a moment before she hands back the note. Have you come to find our daughter? Have you been sent to help?
Yeah.
You are Outlanders? Do you have some great skill in tracking?
Yep, and yep.
Oh, this is wonderful. Please, how can we help? Just tell us what we need to do. We'll do it. Anything to get our daughter back.
I just want to sort of have a look around and then have a look at the grounds.
She watches. She immediately, as you're partway through that sentence, turns and gestures towards the house. I'll show you her bedroom and outside the window. And come up. I'll show you.
Yeah. Great. Thanks. Tithla leans back to Styx. I sort of didn't think about that we might go inside. I don't know what to look for inside.
Well, you would look for clues.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll do that. Okay, in the bedroom.
You watch as the mother, who's kind of walked off a little bit of the stage, doesn't hear this, but the father, who's watching the two of you very suspiciously, you watch as he narrows his eyes as he looks between the two of you holding the axe. Just a moment. We'll catch up with you, dear. You watch as she sort of looks back a bit confused, but keeps walking.
We'll catch up with you later.
And
Tithla keeps walking.
He looks down at the two of you. No, as you go to walk forwards, you suddenly find the shaft of the axe, the wooden handle currently blocking your pathway as you kind of walk into it, your chest bumping into it.
Ow.
You waste our time. You don't fuck with us. We've lost our baby girl.
Sir, do I look like someone who is here to waste time?
I don't know. I'm not making judgments on how you look. I'm making judgments on what you say. You and your friend there.
Yep.
Please help us.
We're trying to. I promise you. You got the letter. Do you need to say it again? We're trying.
As you say that, he's uncomfortable
I'm a little
for
peculiar.
a moment. He's a bit uncomfortable when you say that. Do you want to read the letter in which he pulls the handle of the axe back? A bit confused, sort of blustered. Just don't waste our time.
Look, okay, I'm a little peculiar sometimes, but I try and, okay?
Alright, okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. No
He kind of
worries.
spits the words out. Perfect.
All right, let's go, Styx.
All right.
As the two of you begin wandering forwards, you watch as the mother emerges a moment later with the two kids. You can see that they've each got a bucket in their hands, and she sends them over towards the goats, getting them out of the way, basically emptying out the house. The kids look to be maybe like 9, maybe 11. Two boys.
Tithla goes over to the goats, does a little animal handling check, wants to see how they react to a stranger being in the house, see if they've been traumatized recently.
Oh, okay. I was expecting this to be a bit, but actually this is a genuinely good idea.
Happens once in a while.
I don't really know how to like
shit at a wall. Something's bound to.
How do I handle this? I guess I should ask for an animal handling.
That's a 25, please.
Tithla.
I have a couple of good skills, and I finally have an excuse to use them.
As you walk over to the goats, your parents had 2 goats. You've grown up around goats. You know that goats can be mean, territorial bastards. Yeah, I mean, you kind of know how goats can be. And this herd of goats, right?
Hmm.
There must be a better collective noun than herd. A what, sorry?
A pod.
A pod. A grudge of goats, right? Surely it's got to be like something like
Parliament of goats.
Parliament. Nah, there's got to be a better collective noun for goats than herd. Herd's so fucking vanilla. Let's see. While I'm looking that up. Flock, herd, tribe, or trip. A trip of goats.
Herd.
Fuck yes. Trip of goats. As you look over this trip of goats, you can see, as is pretty normal, one fairly dominant female. Bit larger than the rest, bit older. You can see her fur wearing through in places. You can see she's a little bit slower, but the rest of the goats, you can see kind of are a little bit scared of this aging matriarchal goat. As you make your way towards the house, she clocks you immediately. There's a very low, gentle sort of warning. And you watch as the other goats begin to move around behind her as she watches you moving up towards the fence, eyes these like strange slit eyes watching you as you head inside. And then as you move inside towards the window, you watch as she leads the goats around, always watching where you might be in the house. Very cautious, very much on it. Tithla, this is far more defensive behavior than would be expected for a flock of goats that have not recently been traumatized. You think these goats, using your words, is your subconscious, you think these goats have recently been traumatized. Something's happened,
Right.
some threat has entered their space, and they are now overreacting to things. Recently. This is recent.
It's okay. I'm here for you. Your reactions are normal, and it's not an overreaction. I want you to know that.
Do you say that very gently to them?
Yep. Okay. We're going to go
Somehow-
inside now. Is that
somehow,
okay?
inexplicitly, there's something calming about your voice, Tithla. Some aspect of it which does kind of
You're saying
speak.
this voice relates to goats?
Yes, Tithla's voice sounds like a baby goat.
Okay.
As you kind of make these quite like, very goat-like noises, which is just your speech. You watch as the quite larger, older matriarchal goat moves a bit closer to the fence, reaches out to sort of sniff you a little bit, gets enough of your scent, turns around, kicks a bit of dirt towards you and wanders over, the rest of the herd relaxing. You think this is, I mean, in goat language, you've just been
Tithla turns
told
to
you're
Styx.
okay.
We passed the test.
Yeah.
What test?
At the goat test. I'll explain later.
All right.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the bedroom.
I'm actually not going to go into the house. I'm going to look around the house and see if there's anything that I can see around the perimeter of the outside wall sort of area.
Yeah. Could I grab a perception or investigation check? Styx, your choice. We'll stick to the outside first. We'll go to the inside in a minute.
Doing perception.
Oh yeah, so what you need to do is you need to go to Google Chrome, open it up.
Hit the
There's a-
login
There's
button.
a website called D&D Beyond. I want you to head to that.
Yeah.
And
And then what?
then you want to hit the long
Find the
rest
long
button.
rest
That's
button.
very important. I love that Jacob and I were making the same joke at the same time. I don't know who spent too much time around who, but clearly somewhat
The balance is off somewhere.
Yeah, we're there. 22 sticks for your perception. Very nice. You're on edge a little bit, would be fair to say, after your meeting with Blinsky. Your mind is kind of racing a little bit, and your sensory input is kind of dialed up as you look around, taking in every detail, your mind processing much faster than it normally does, taking into these tiny details, passing them together. You can feel your mind making links and connections. Looking around the house, it's very obvious straight away that, these people are quite poor. These people are not very well off. The house that they're living in was constructed a very, very long time ago. It's wearing down. It is in disrepair. More importantly, though, looking around the outside, you can see where a number of attempts to kind of fix things has been made poorly. These are people who are doing their very best to live off the land and are not succeeding. The money that they're bringing in, you don't think is enough to be able to maintain all of this livestock. As your mind kind of puts this together, you begin to wonder if maybe they're not always around the parents. The way the kids are kind of playing, the way they were kind of moving around before, you noticed a bit of not much of a connection between their parents and the kids. There was this distance between them. When the mother asked them to do something, there was displeasure. They went and did it, and then immediately ran off and started doing a lot of the farm chores without any direction or without any supervision. And they're very young, more so than you would expect for farm kids. This is like a level of independence. You start to wonder how much time the parents are around here in the afternoons and evenings. If perhaps there's other employment they're picking up to make ends meet, to cover the costs. As you make your way around the side of the house towards the back, you can see these very small, narrow windows. No glass, just these mesh window covers, a mixture of large sticks, straw that have been sort of tied together with loose thread, woven almost into like a basket front that then is just wedged into the windowsill. This would be the easiest house. You could just reach out and poke it and it would fall in, and you've now got access to the inside of the house. Sure enough, as you begin to head round, you can see a number of these mesh window covers, these basket-like window coverings, are rotting through, water damaged, and really a stiff breeze would knock them out. And as you get round to the very far back of the house, yeah, despite the undergrowth kind of blocking a bit of the view here, this house is built right on the edge of the forest, and normally you'd expect people to kind of clear a bit of an area around the back of the house, but new trees have grown up, probably a couple of years old, so it looks like this area was once cleared but has since recovered. Someone hasn't been maintaining it. And sure enough, amongst the undergrowth, you very quickly spy a large paw print. The leaf litter around it has been scraped back. Someone else clearly identified this, but you can see a number of others that have not yet been identified, have not yet been spotted. What's more, some of these are fresher than others. Following the tracks for a little distance, you get towards the very edge of the forest, away from this sort of partially regrown clearing. You can see that there were number of paw prints here, different sized wolves, maybe 3, maybe 4 different individuals from the looks of things, judging by the paw prints. And they were here more than once, eyeing this place off, scoping it out. And as you head back over towards the homestead, you can see a few scratch marks at the edge of the clay wall of the house. Deep furrows, as if something climbed up into the inside of the house over the edge of this windowsill here. Is there anything else you'd like to sort of ask about, or any other things you'd be looking for while you're out there, or do you want me to move on with Tithla for a bit?
Yeah, two things. First thing, when the kids were ushered away from the house to, give it some space, did there appear to be any level of getting the kids away so that they couldn't speak to us? Or did it seem more so to get them out just away so that we could do the job properly?
Good question. That probably falls more under an insight in terms of reading specific body language. I would say, though, that if you wanted to use if you want to make an insight check, absolutely. If you want to use your existing perception check, I can give you a little bit based on that, but that's much more sort of falling under the insight. 13. It didn't seem to be anything more sinister, Styx. Your vibe on this was just the mother giving the kids a task, strangers approaching, get them out of the way, and then as soon as you asked to step inside, getting them out of the house so that you and Tithla could go through. I mean, it was after you said, we need to look around, that's when they were gestured out. If there had been an attempt to stop you speaking with them, you think it would have been as soon as you kind of announced, we're here to look into the disappearance of your daughter. It was only when Tithla said, well, you need to go look around inside, that's when the mother went and cleared the kids out. So you don't get the sense it was anything more sinister.
Okay. Then last thing I'll do when I'm around the back of the house is cast Zone of Truth on the front door area.
Very nice. Now, I need to make wisdom saving throws, and you know if they pass. I believe it is.
Until the spell ends, a creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed
charisma saving throw, sorry.
The creature can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. You know whether each creature succeeds or fails on the saving throw.
Alrighty.
And an affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie.
As you cast Zone of Truth, Styx, what does that look like? Is it like your eye just like opens wide, shining this light that all who are bound by it cannot speak a lie? What does it look like? Do you pull out a tooth that you then crumble into dust, and when they breathe in the tooth dust, they now can't lie?
It's like when the old school movie pictures it'd flicker slightly,
yes.
So the eye starts doing that kind of motion, and a very light purpley black haze kind of spreads, like that really deep black purple, almost like a blood infection kind of color spreads out and very faint, but over in almost a dome-like shape for the radius of the spell.
I wasn't
Kind of
ready
seeps out.
for the paint color of sepsis to be used tonight, but there we go. If you're wondering
It's
what
Styx.
color Raph has his feature wall, sepsis is the right answer.
Correct.
Yes, a nice, deep, rich, bloody infection. Yeah. As this kind of flickering light from your eye begins to emanate through the back of the wall, the spell beginning to take hold. Tithla is also in the realm of this. Tithla, could I please have a charisma saving throw, my friend?
I mean, Tithla never lies in the first place.
Yeah. So true.
13.
No.
I know Tithla doesn't knowingly lie.
What is your DC? What's your spell save DC, Raph? For
I
Styx?
don't know.
So if you go to your spells, click on the
wow.
spells tab, it'll say it there. 14. It says it right on the screen.
Job, mate.
DC
One
14.
job.
DC 14. Tithla, that is a fail on the 13.
Sick.
That's a fail.
Do you want to ask Tithla anything while she's walking through?
Nah.
Styx.
Lame.
Styx.
Did the parents ask
In
her
addition, the two parents also fail. So they're affected by the zone of truth. They can't deliberately speak a lie. As this effect activates Tithla, you suddenly feel this magic begin to take root as the edges of your vision begin to blur. This dark, infected blood purple light begins to shine through the walls.
Ew, ew, ew.
Yeah, you look down, your veins begin to pop out of your
that's
hand and up your
cool.
arms with this same sort of dark purple color as they move around to your lips and tongue. You find yourself unable to speak a lie in this moment. That's probably a bit darker than what Raph's going for.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate.
Okay,
to be
cool.
honest.
Great. Cool. Then
I imagine that it's all relative, right? So for most people, they have to be prompted and they can't lie. Whereas that's Tithla's default. So the effect of this spell on her is unfiltered
Word vomit.
thoughts.
I there's nothing I have regretted more in this moment than accidentally unleashing stream of consciousness Tithla, a character who already is close to that as you can really be. Sorry, have you been filtered prior to this?
Yeah, remember that time that Tom said, "Here, let me give you an interruption."
Yeah,
there was that one
funny.
time.
That was funny. I need to make that a YouTube short. It was very funny. Okay, yeah, great. As this activates, you watch as the two parents kind of pause for a moment, looking around, a bit concerned in the moment, look to each other and go, "What is this? I feel uncomfortable. I don't like this. What is this? What magic is this?"
I'm still coming around the house. I'm not in there yet.
Well, as Tithla walks through, as she's like leaving the parents behind because she's got a mission. She's just like, I really hope that we find this girl and then the other people. I don't know if I'm going to do a good job. I don't think I will. I don't see why I would. I haven't done a good job on so many other things. That was weird. Okay.
Styx, as you arrive at the front door, you also enter the spell effect area for the first time.
Oh yeah, I suppose that would affect me, wouldn't it?
I was very specific when I said, where do you cast it? I'd also like a charisma saving throw, please.
Okay.
He's going to pass, though, little bitch.
He'll
You can already
pass.
tell. You already tell that he's going to pass. Natural 1. 15. Oh, it's just, though. It's just.
Yes.
It's a bit closer than I thought. Yeah, Styx. For a moment, you feel the spell begin to take root before you realize, oh no, this is my spell. You just block it out. Carefully gets the effect on yourself. You watch it. Yes, Tithla, as you kind of say this, you hear the sound of Styx kind of stomping in from behind you. Styx, you have to duck underneath the door frame. The roof is only sort of like 6.5 feet tall as you step into this sort of small, dingy house. Styx, you watch as the father turns towards you. I'm having serious doubts in your ability to perform the task of finding my daughter. Kind of covers his mouth for a moment and goes, I'm having serious doubts in you. Why are you green? I don't like it. And then he kind of like realizes again what he's saying, like pauses for a second as his wife turns towards him and goes like, that is so rude. You can't say that. That's really rude.
It's okay, we're used to it, don't worry. I was grey not long ago.
There's a very awkward pause, Tithla, as Styx catches up to the inside of the house.
I have some questions for you.
Is that why you've cast this magic? To force us to answer your questions?
Yes.
You watch as the sort of a bit taken aback by the honesty.
Also in the zone.
Yeah, well, when in a zone.
Ask your questions. If it helps us find our daughter, I'll answer them.
Your children are left alone a lot.
There's a very quiet, shameful pause before you watch as the mother nods ever so slightly.
Is this to make ends meet?
Yes.
All right.
Styx pulls out 80 gold and just hands it to them.
80.
Wow.
As you hand over the 80 gold, you watch as the wife, eyes wide, says, I've never seen this much gold before. We can't take this. This is too generous. No, sorry.
Yeah.
She can't say that. Sorry. We shouldn't take this. This is very generous.
All right.
Styx just puts it on the floor.
Don't leave them again.
You watch as the wife sort of chokes back a bit of a sob, looking very, very ashamed.
Your daughter was taken by the wolves. I found footprints.
The father nods. I found one out the back. Dirty great paw print outside her window. They weren't even trying to hide.
There are many. They have been here many times.
What? I didn't know that.
They were watching you.
Fuck. You watch. I'm gonna make a fear check for both of them. Abso-fucking-lutely. That's fucking terrifying.
Fucking horrifying. Yeah.
You watch as the woman, pale, cries out and runs outside to her two children, calling out their names. In this moment, suddenly terrified for her two other kids. She just vanishes outside the front door. You watch as the father, shaking a little bit, looks up at you. When were they here? When were they last here?
Soon, recently-ish, I think. That is not something that I am good at finding out. Tithla will be the one to tell you that.
They gonna take my sons as well?
Yes.
You watch
I
as
want to point out.
Hello.
So for the parents, is Styx standing in the zone of truth?
He's in the room with you guys. Yeah.
So they
They
understand.
don't know. Yeah, they don't. They now know that they can only speak the truth.
So they're reasonable to assume
Styx isn't lying. That Styx can only be honest. Yeah, for sure. That's why they're having that's why these words are having so much more of an effect. Which is the father like looks around, reaches down and picks up the gold off the floor. Styx. This would be enough to get us inside the walls to stay inside Vallaki. Can we keep this?
I did not put it on the floor to pick it up again.
Fuckwit.
Thank you. I'll make sure my wife, my two boys are inside the walls tonight. I'm coming back out. I'm gonna find my daughter, but I'll keep them safe inside the protection
we'll
of
do that.
Vallaki.
We'll find her.
If you think I'm gonna sit out, not help look for my daughter, you've got another thing coming.
Nah, we're pretty strong. We can do it. We
You
got
don't
more
look
friends.
strong. You look like
Okay.
He looks at you. Do you look?
I have a dragon with me.
Oh, yeah, true. Sorry, that is a good point. You do have Dracob with you. as Dracob wanders in from outside. Let's say Dracob was kind of sniffing around the goats. A bit sort of unsure.
He was playing with the goats.
Yeah. Playing with them.
Yep.
Like cat and mouse playing? Or?
Like Drake and goat
dog
play.
And baby calf. Like dog and cow play.
Okay. That's a bit gentler. Yeah, okay. As Dracob sort of pads in behind you and looks up, does Dracob have to make a truth save? Not really. Dracob can't talk.
He could gesture the truth.
No one's ever asked Dracob anything.
It's true. You don't know if Dracob can talk. You actually have no idea. Well, if you want my opinion, I think these wolves...
Cheerio, lads.
Well, hello, Tiffer.
Hello, Governor.
I was playing with the goats, like cow and baby cow and doggo.
Little goat play.
A little bit of goat play.
Surely it would just be Jacob's voice, though.
Yeah,
Jacob.
It's fair.
What does that mean? What do you mean by
hang
that?
on, what, isn't that what we were doing? Oh, no, sorry.
Hello, I'm Jacob.
I'm here to see the goats.
I'm gonna see a goat.
Yeah. As Dracob pads in behind you, watches, he sort of like, the father sort of pauses, looks towards Dracob and goes, hey, maybe if you've tamed that beast, maybe there's more to you. You had the goats. Well, you had the goats on site pretty quickly as well.
Yeah. So why don't you look after them and we'll go find Jade.
If you come with us and you die, then your family will not survive.
That's a little harsh.
You're right.
Probably true, but
I'll get them into the walls. We'll make sure they're safe behind the walls of Alaki tonight. I'll get to them now.
And don't forget to tell your neighbor about the legumes and the crop rotation.
He looks confused. And with that, we're going to jump over to Blood and Axel. Blood and Axel, you're still down on the docks with Greta, having had a big chat with her in regards to the ghost ship, learning that, she'd lost a friend, a companion, maybe something more to the ghost ship, and she's the one who made up the story of the curse to try and keep people away. But I think Axel's now a bit more convinced there's no curse. The fear of that has kind of dissipated somewhat with the knowledge that the architect of this is standing right there, freely admitting, oh yeah, I made it up. Yeah, I made the whole thing up, I believe you had just finished asking about the exact events of what had happened, and she'd kind of taken you through the timeline of those fateful hours out on the water that led to the loss of her friends, the boat being bumped from something underneath, capsizing their vessel and dunking them both into the water before seeing that light down in the depths of the lake. What would the two of you like to do?
I think Axel had, there was a moment, where Greta had walked away to go and organize maps. And so in that time, we were having a bit of a chat together and talking about like what types of creatures could be responsible for this ramming. And I think in this kind of downtime while we chat and wait for Greta to return, I want to move across to those two people that were repairing a net nearby. And I think I just want to sit down idly with them and assist them with that and use the mending spell as I weave together some, rope or something like that. And I'm mending their net as we work, as if this is something that he is comfortable doing, sitting at a dockside. And idly chatting with Blood and potentially these folk sitting here too about the stories that they know. So,
Blood would help seeing that.
Yeah.
He would help.
Walking over and introducing yourself by using magic to repair a net that they're clearly struggling to repair. Like, you can hear part of the discussion you overheard as you walked down towards the docks was these two people discussing how this net is almost irreparable because of the way it's being cut, sliced through a number of those very key master threads that kind of hold a lot of the smaller lattice work in place, having been severed through, sheared through completely. As you just walk up, do you say anything or do you just walk up, literally start casting the spell as a way of introduction?
I think the spell itself, because mending is something that's so innate to Axel as part of his daily rituals, that I think he uses it so versatilely in his day-to-day. And I think, minor repairs on stuff on the docks, nets, whatever ropes it be, it's just he runs his hand along it, and the words that he uses are more so the chanting of the docks. They're the participating in the ship songs, or the limericks that you would see on the docks. Yeah,
it's as you walk on over, not really stopping to say hello from the sounds of it. Axel, you just walk up, sit down in between these two, and begin grabbing the threads. And as you bring them together, you watch as the split sections of rope begin to untie themselves, spiraling out before they latch on, and then twist back together again, reforming. It's very quick as you grab these little threads with your fingers, to the point where it's hard to kind of see exactly what you're doing. The magic's so practiced, so innate, that it is just, to you, Blood, it looks like Axel just grabs threads, presses them together for a moment, and then the net is repaired thread by thread, quicker and quicker and quicker. And you watch as around his fingers threads begin to unwind and dance before forming back together again, faster and faster.
Wow, how Axel do?
You're not alone in that, Blood. As you open, you hear very similar sounds coming from the couple, also assisting on the net, the ones who are sort of forming the net back together. There's an initial cry of, "Who are you?" And then suddenly, "Oh my, what?" As you just begin pulling the threads together. As you sort of go, "Whoa," he watches the woman, the slightly sort of older woman, turns towards you and goes, Who is that? What? Who are you?
This Axel. Blood.
Blood, Axel. I'm Melanie. Sorry.
Oh.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much. My husband and I were just arguing about having to throw this net out. But how did you do that?
I was making it, but you do good, Axel. What you do, huh?
Little things. I've been doing things like this for years. It's nothing anyway. And I think Blood, Axel just tries to move on. Yeah, it's just what you just.
No, I don't do that. Blood don't do that.
It's magic fingers.
I want that auto-tuned as a song. Blood don't do that. Blood don't do that. Fucking sick.
I think Axel just casually moves into, what's sliced up your net this bad?
I don't know. This is my husband, Sizreich. Which as the man gives a bit of a nod. We lay out these nets overnight, not too deep. Stay pretty close to the shallows to try and catch things moving through. The lake is so large that it's not quite tidal movement, but the water kind of moves around a bit. And we were hoping to kind of catch things coming in with the high tide, but something sliced through it. Like it was nothing. It's not the only net that's been damaged. We've gone through 8 of these in the last 3 weeks. These are expensive.
You get high tide and low tide in lake?
Kind of. It changes a little bit with the water flow down the mountain as well. Obviously, you got Mount Baratok just up there, and she points towards the massive mountain sort of looming over the edge of the lake, the shadow of which is permanently cast across the waters. You can see water cascading down the sides of it, clearly feeding into this massive lake as well. You suspect when they say tidal, again, they've got no point of reference. There's no ocean here. They've probably picked up that word from other adventurers. You think maybe the waters ebb and fluctuate, like there's increase and increase and decreased amounts depending on water, precipitation, things like that. When they say tidal, they don't mean tidal in the way you do. You think they mean something else.
Right. And it explains probably why it's fresh water too, right?
100%. Yeah, this is all flowing off the mountains and through the forests on either side. You can see there's a number of big streams feeding this lake. It's quite low down. You're in a bit of a dip here. As you look around, you can see the forest rising up hills that then become the foothold of Mount Baratok. Over towards the left-hand side, you can see the imposing Castle Ravenloft, again on its own little hillside that rises up over the forest. I mean, Blood, looking around, there's a lot of water that would go into this. This is like a natural, almost like a sinkhole in the very center of the land of Barovia, where all the water's kind of flowing into.
You say creature cut up net. Recent?
Well, I first few days we thought it was one of our neighbours. Are we even accused too? Was it Simon? I thought Simon was cutting our nets. We've been in a bit of friendly competition with Simon and his partner for the last couple of days. I mean, but no, I mean, I watched him. It wasn't him. It happens at night. At least when we check the nets in the afternoon, they're fine, and then in the morning, sliced open. We tried casting them in different areas, setting up different spots. Some of the crab pots have been taken as well. We catch crawfish and things like that in them, and they've been sliced open as if something's cut through them.
Is this new?
Well, it happens every so often. People tell tales of stuff cutting through the nets, but it's been happening more and more to us. As I said, the 8th net, 2 weeks. Can't afford to keep repairing them. I can't afford to keep buying them. Greta's been nice. This one's one of hers. We borrowed it from her. But, I mean, now that you've repaired it, thank you. I did not want to have to let her know that our net was cut through, that her net was cut through. I was actually really afeard of that. That would not have gone down well.
Are many nets broke? Maybe Axel fix all.
We've thrown out a couple of them. Sad to say, we repurposed them for lines and lures and things like that. But we've still got 2 more. I mean, I don't want to impose, but if you're happy to take a look, there's 2 more that you could repair.
I might have favor for you. Blood might have favor for you.
A favor?
Aye.
What kind of favor?
Blood need to attach outrigger to small boat to Simon boat. You help?
Yes, of course. Well, my husband writes more of the shipwright. He constructed our boat.
Turn to the husband. You help?
I'll help. Yes. What do you need? You said you need help with attaching an outrigger. What is this? Like other keel?
Well, little boat out there, big boat here. Attach wood rope attached together strong, and then outrigger. Yes, good.
I think I understand. I'm sorry, I'm Scottish for him. I think I understand most of what you want. I will. Yeah, I can provide some materials. We have plenty of lumber to help construct. Yes, I can help with this.
Good help as well.
Oh, you and I can work on the boats while Axel can help Melanie with the nets. This is, I must say, this is very fair trade. I'm happy to do. Thank you. Yes, of course.
Perfect.
Tell more about while we work.
Oh yeah, Axel, as you head on over to the, you watch as Reich leads you over towards an area of the docks that's sort of a little bit raised up away from the shoreline, almost like a sort of semi-dry dock. He gets you to bring the boat around, the 2 boats that you want to work on. To bring them around, he helps you drag them up onto the beach as you sort of muscles bulging, pull the boat up onto the shore and then roll it across these sort of like sunken in logs up on top of a little dry dock area. You watch as he heads on over and begins pulling out large sections of wood. You can see that there's a few much larger, almost tree trunks that have not been fully processed. You suspect probably to be used as like a mast, which would make very, very easy pole attachments for the outrigger to keep it nice and set and level. You have actually worked on proper seafaring vessels before. Blood, could I get you to please make me, I'm going to say this falls for you underneath a survival or athletics check, your choice.
We're definitely going to take the athletics.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Given that you're a strength-based character.
Yeah. That work?
That's how it's pronounced, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's rolling. Oh, good roll.
27. Fuck yeah. Blood. As you and Reich begin to get to work, Reich is clearly very, very skilled. It does not take a lot of instruction from you before he kind of grasps what you're doing. And very soon he kind of begins taking charge where you, without sort of giving him too much guidance beyond the initial description. Mainly focus on using your strength to help. Hammering out a section of wood, carving through using a very, very specialized saw, this very thin blade saw that kind of cuts down and then allows you to cut in and around a circular section of the boat's hull to squeeze in these 2 logs for the outrigger, a jigsaw. But for you, this is pretty cool. As you get inside and begin cutting away with this tiny, thin blade. It's amazing. Before you begin using your strength to push through, carve off some of the bark, begin hammering in pegs to hold this in place, slathering on what looks like some sort of like dark, very, very hot, waxy substance that Reich refers to as pitch, telling you to be very careful not to touch it. It smells foul. And as you begin coating it around the boat, he explains to you that this will help keep it waterproof. Blood. Fuck, that would have been nice to have when you were working on your rafts in Nostea. You had to use a lot of the time sap and things like that to kind of harden into a resin. This stuff looks far more easy to use, although it doesn't smell anywhere near as nice.
Probably safe to assume that Blood would be used to working on more like long boats or long form vessels, right?
Yeah, the far more kind of like wayfinder vessels that the Polynesians would have used in our worlds. Yeah. These kind of like almost like a catamaran-like rafts, raised up with a platform, 1 or 2 main, not keels. I can't remember what they're called when they're catamarans. The section of the boat that goes in the water. These like, I can't remember what they're called in the catamarans, but like a keel. Two main keels and the platform in between, and then maybe an outrigger on the side if it's a canoe-like vessel. Hollowing out a section of tree trunk, and you've got a canoe. Boom. Attach another tree trunk. That's now 2 canoes tied together, or a canoe plus an outrigger. Like, you're good to go. This is very similar to that. You're kind of using like the canoe approach, creating a much larger, more stable vessel with the outrigger. And as you get to work with Reich's help, it doesn't take the 2 of you very long, couple of hours before the vessel's finished. And you're pretty proud of this, but there's one more step you know needs to be completed. Blood. It is very bad luck not to name a vessel. And even though both of these rafts and these little boats may not have been worthy of a name before, you know it's worthy of one now. This was worked on by a Meloran orc. This is worthy of a name. You don't have to think of it now, but you can Blood. You can think on what you want to call this vessel. But it is important. You know, tradition dictates you must give it a name, and it will. There are also some symbols that will need to be drawn on it for protection. You'll know that.
Cool.
Some symbology to help mark it as a.
I think Blood would probably wait for the rest of the party to eventually.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Strong sense of community amongst the Meloran orcs. It would not be something you'd do just by yourself. Absolutely true. Yeah. Axel. Oh, sorry. I should say one more thing. Blood, are you going to ask him about the situation, right? See if he knew anything about the.
Just like some idle chat about like the lake and about the situation, like trying to get a bit more of a grasp of what's happening and. Yeah, he's already spoken to Simon about that and Greta, but he wants to kind of know what else.
Reich quickly reveals that he's not much of an actual sailor or fisherman. His skill lies in the crafting and the maintenance of the boats. A lot of the income he makes is actually from helping others with their boat construction. His wife Melanie is more the fisherman, and she's the one who spends more time out on the water. It's very quickly revealed that he tends to get what he calls choppy sick when the waters of the lake begin to move back and forwards. He starts to get this like very uncomfortable feeling in his stomach, which is why he spends more of his time on the land than out on the waves. But he's heard all the rumors, same kind of stories that Simon tells you. The ghost ship is a marker of ill omen. It's cursed. Those who gaze upon it will die. Like it's pretty intense. And then he tells you, yeah, the captain of the guard saw it, and sure enough, the night of the bloodless coup, his body was found floating in the lake, like having drowned. What's crazy stuff?
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. Wow, classic stuff. Axel, as you sit down, begin repairing the nets with Melanie, what would you be doing?
I think the exact same thing that Blood has been doing over there. I've been having like almost the same confirming stories, exchanging stories of times at the docks back home. And one of the things that crosses my mind to ask in this moment, because it's been glazed over, is what is Arthur sick with? Like, what led to Simon traversing out on the sea without his fisherman friends? Like, what is he fell with? Like, did it happen out at sea? Did he, is it just a fever? What's going on?
Really good question. As you ask it, Axel, you watch as Melanie goes very quiet for a moment and then kind of chuckles a little bit, snorting almost. Oh, I shouldn't say it. It's a wee bit embarrassing.
Very well. Understood. And then I'll just like literally go back to the weaving. Like I wouldn't push it. I think I'd hear that. And I know that this person is more likely to want to push
this
themselves.
works immediately.
So I'm just going to immediately stay silent.
Absolutely fucking nailed it. Absolutely correct. There's no need to roll a check or anything. She sits in silence for about 5 more minutes and then she goes,
You know, you're Outlanders. I'm sure I could tell you without there being much of a problem. You wouldn't pass it on, would you? If I told you what happened.
Zoom. For podcast listeners, lips are sealed.
Okay.
Which she kind of leans in conspiratorially. Again, this big smile on her face, Axel, that you know is the sign of someone who knows a juicy secret and is about to spill the tea all over the place.
So, I heard that he and his missus got in a wee bit of a row. And that's not unusual. He's been known to have a wandering eye. Sure enough, while they were making, while she was at home making a lovely large stew, on his way back home, she happens to gaze outside the window and see him chatting with a lovely lass up from Brick Lane. Now, this is a lass he's been known to have lovely chats with on occasion, if you get my drift. Now, he's been warned a number of times. His wandering eye is already a problem, but if it becomes a wandering hand, well then, she's told him that comes with consequences. She catches him in the act, comes inside the door, bold as brass. When she confronts him, he tells her, "Nay, didn't talk with that lovely lass. No. She asks him again, denies it again. She asks him a third time, and as he's in the middle, she's serving him that lovely fresh warm stew, and he denies it a third time. You know, the darndest thing happens. Her hand slips. The bowl tumbles down onto his lap. The boiling stew all over the area. Oh, I tell you, cries were heard down most of the street that night. And unfortunately, he's found himself quite unable to walk or sit comfortably for a number of days. Hopefully that will teach that young man. Keep his nose to himself and his eyes to himself. Else her hand might slip again.
She quite gleefully shares this story with you, Axel.
I was going to play it coy and flat, like this is just a soft little tale that's been told and not making an impression. But I think in this moment, Axel finds just like a familiarity of a story like this from home, and for the first time, he just feels like a chuckle come into his heart, and he just mutters to himself. Boils his nethers is just the idea that he has come to him. The fact that his wife has spilled this soup in his crutch, and
aye, his poor potatoes overboiled, I heard.
It's a good name for a ship.
Boiled potatoes.
Aye, boiled potatoes.
Boiled nether.
Boiled nethers.
Aye, soft and mashable they were afterwards, I heard.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. There's no great secret to his sickness. It's not connected to a conspiracy. It's just a dickhead of a husband getting his comeuppance.
I love that.
Yeah.
Her poor hand slipped. Can you imagine? It must have been a big bowl. I hear it was large and heavy, and she couldn't have held it up any longer, and it fell all over him.
It happens all the time.
Well, not so much around here. Hopefully this is a lesson to those other young men that it should not be happening at all.
Has this happened at your home as well? We're not so different. Where you're from and where we're from here. Normally, Outlanders come and tell us all the things that are different. It's nice to hear that we're not so different, eh?
I spend a lot of time on the docks, and often when someone heads out to sea and someone stays home, there's a bit of tension.
I think that is true here as well.
Yeah, a lot of tears on the docks.
Tears of joy most times when I get to see my husband come home. Sometimes tears of frustration when I come home and he's got problems with his stomach. He's not a great man on the waters. Am I right? And mostly tears of joy.
I understand how your husband feels. I work a lot with the ships, but that deep water that sometimes worries me. Shallows is fine.
Nothing to be afraid of. I myself don't like the deep water. If I can't see the bottom, I sometimes find myself imagining things in the dark. You know, the water itself, because it moves. It's so easy to see shapes and things under the water. You know, there's been times where I could have sworn I saw little faces in the water. Figures. It's just the mind playing tricks. It is spooky though. I understand fully. Nothing to be ashamed of.
I think at that he just falls back into his ritual, humming a tune, and thinking of how to work boiling his nethers into one of the stories that he already knows. A bowl of soup in his lap, and he's just playing with that in his head, thinking of one of the folk songs he remembers from back home and how he can weave that in the future.
Oh man, I might sit down and have a bit of a think about a tune that could go with overboiled potatoes and boiling his nethers. I think we could come up with a bard song for that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to devote time out of my day to do that. It's very worthy. Awesome. Blood and Axel, unless there's anything else specific you do, I'll do a tiny little time skip as the two of you reconvene. Axel, the nets having been repaired, learning a little bit more from Melanie, but nothing too dissimilar, nothing that doesn't correlate to or correspond with what you've already learned from a lot of the other townsfolk, and all of it contradictory to what Greta told you about the ghost ship. But I mean, she's the one who made up that rumor, so you were expecting people to believe it. I mean, she's the one who said, I made it up, I'm the only one who knows. So yeah, the fact that stories don't kind of line up makes sense on that front. But as you kind of reconvene and come back together again, could I get the two of you, as we wrap up for tonight, to please make me a perception or investigation check, please? As your eyes find themselves drawn back towards the surface of the dark lake before you, I want to see if you see anything as we wrap up for tonight.
Oh!
That is a unnatural 20 from Axel and an 11 from Blood.
Blood. Mind on boats. Boat's pretty.
Boat.
Thinking of name. Good name. Boat must have good name. Blood think of good name.
Your mind is elsewhere. You're really focused on coming up with a good name. You think of like traditional names that would be in reference to Meloran, in reference to storms, the wilds, the ocean. Often good vessels are named after the traditional Meloran orc names for animals. There's a deep connection with a lot of the sea life of the ocean. It would be unusual to not come across at least a number of vessels named after like manta rays, named after certain species of fish, certain species of shark. It's very, very common for a name that kind of captures the essence, the spirit of that animal to be used. That's very, very common indeed. Your mind is elsewhere. Axel, given the conversation you just had, given the sort of the bit you kind of learn about the nets where they kind of go fishing, and that conversation about like seeing things in the dark water, your eyes are drawn back again and again to the dark lake behind you. And as you turn towards the dry dock, seeing Blood and the husband Reich approaching, catch a glimpse over towards the northwestern shore. Tendrils of mist beginning to form across the lake, stretching out like long fingers reaching towards the docks. Still far enough away that they're at the very edge of your sort of perception of the lake, but you can see rapidly the mist growing thicker and thicker, like a dark fog sweeping down through the forest over the water's surface. And in that moment, with a 20, catch a glimpse of this soft, almost blue-green light. Just for a moment, a flash of this light below the lake. And then suddenly, rising from the dark waters, as if conjured from the mists itself, you see the bow of the ship. Red sails fluttering, tattered in the breeze. But for a moment, Blood, you could have sworn you watched this rise from underneath the water. That flash of blue-green light. Axel, sorry. Yeah, Axel. That flash of blue-green light. You could have sworn you saw the ship rise from underneath the waves. And that is where we're going to leave off for tonight.
Hey.
Come back with that one later. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We hope you have enjoyed tonight's session. We will be back tomorrow night for our Avatar Legends episode, our Avatar Legends Legacy of Kyoshi campaign, and on Wednesday night for Return of the Giants, more D&D to enjoy. But Curse of Strahd, we'll have to wait until Monday night once again. We will be back for that very, very shortly. Now, for those of you lovely people who come and watch us live on Twitch, I know the time zone is not fantastic, so we thank all of you who are able to make it. We are going to go and raid a lovely friend of the channel. Is there anyone who we normally... Oh, we normally go and raid RollTogether, and we should go and raid RollTogether. We will go and raid Josh's rerun, correctly titled tonight, The Chronicles of Aedrin. We will go and raid that now. That is an awesome idea. That's only been up for a little bit, so perfect timing. You will not have missed too much at all. Let me get that raid going. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment. All of those things help tame the algorithm, that dark, mysterious force that lurks below the waters, preventing channels from growing organically and keeping instead all semblance of fairness squashed underneath its horrendous slimy tentacles. That really was a harsh takedown of the YouTube algorithm, but I feel like I could be meaner. I feel like I've been kind to it. So make sure you help us out. Every time you leave a like, a comment, or a subscribe, it's a harpoon in the side of that tentacle beast that is the YouTube algorithm that helps us capture it.
How many likes or subscribers would we need to actually write that song, Owen?
I see you are holding up. Is that the Viking, the Norse? I'm trying to what it's called. Tagelharper.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I personally, I'd say 0 because I want you to write the song anyway on the Tagelharper. So like, I'm invested in a very low number. I won't look. I tell you what, I won't put a number on it. But let's you and I. Let's talk about this. That's quite fun.
Let's make a folk song.
How have you been going with playing it? I hear it's not the easiest instrument to pick up.
It's fucking hard, but I've actually started busking in the city, which is fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So
if you ever need
dressed up in full Viking gear and then go to the city.
Fuck yes.
I've made $6.40 so far.
Yes.
Well,
how much was the
Zero
Tagelharper?
months,
I just want to know when you're going to break even.
It's a lot of money.
Bye.